Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. I just did Shere Khan Savage Sophisticate and uploaded it, and so I figured while I was doing Jungle Book pieces, I would take the opportunity to do one of this one, which is titled Trust in Me, and it features, of course, Mowgli and Kaa, and this is absolutely one of my favorite pieces in the Walt Disney Classics collection line. And I think it's pretty easy to see why when you just look at it from all these different angles. So as usual, why do a little bit of history, rambling, some thoughts in general about the piece. I will slowly turn it around so you'll have a chance to look at it from all the different angles. You'll be able to zoom in. So yeah, I mean, where to start? So number one, this is a really rare piece. Again, you've heard me say this from other YouTube videos, but we have certain tiers of value and ambition and intricacy. So at the top of the line are the signature series from the WDCC, the Walt Disney Classics Collection, and there's 9 of those pieces. And, you know, those are like all pretty much legendary in their own way. Even what I consider the middle 3, which I consider a little bit lesser, things like the Magical Maelstrom, right? And the Peter Pan one, with the, I forgot the actual name of the piece. It's the one where they're dancing, you know, with the Indian chief and all of that, under the totem pole, and then an uninvited guest from Sleeping Beauty. Even the ones that I consider not quite as good are still like epic. You know, they still represent sort of the highlight or the epitome of, you know, the WDCC in terms of their ambition and their intricacy and the number of pieces, the sort of the story, you know, the sculpture wants to tell. And then a cut below that are the Gold Circle exclusives, which again tend to be more limited. They're not open edition. They tend to be numbered, and they usually are, you know, pretty special in the sense that they're typically only 1 or 2 releases, or Gold Circle releases a year, sometimes only 1 a year. And usually the Gold Circle piece is celebrating a, you know, special event or anniversary of the movie. So for instance, She Didn't Shudder on My Paw, which is the Beauty and the Beast Gold Circle. That was kind of, you know, commemorating again an anniversary. You know, Morning Daddy from Little Mermaid with Triton and Ariel. You know, was again celebrating, I think a 15th anniversary. So in any case, those are usually, you know, what those Gold Circle pieces are about. And this piece is none of those. This is, of course, not a signature piece. It's way too small and limited for that. And it's not a Gold Circle release. Neither was Shere Khan's Savage Sophisticate. But I would have to say that the next tier, and I don't even know if it's a tier below Gold Circle, because it's had some pretty just, you know, amazing like entries. But the consistency is not quite the same, would be the Villain series. And this is obviously, you know, it is what it sounds like, which is Disney deciding to dedicate an entire series of the Walt Disney Classics collection to their most famous villains. And if you look at that list, there are some truly like amazing, rare, incredibly ambitious and highly sought after pieces in that series. And you just have to go to the Duckman page. That's already, unfortunately, it's not really been updated. It's defunct, but the information is still up there. It's still being hosted, thank God, with a lot of good information. And you can, you know, go through that webpage from, you know, the Walt Disney Classics Collection Duckman page and go to the Villain series, and you'll see what's in that series, and by and large, it's some of the best pieces in the entire line. The most rare and the most sought after, the most expensive. And the funny thing is, I don't think, with any real exceptions, I don't think any of the villain series pieces actually are numbered. The way they did them was that I think they would make them available for a certain set time. And usually it wasn't for very long, like maybe 6 months, I want to say, maybe shorter. There was some that was ridiculous. Like if you really want to read through them, I could have sworn there was one that was like literally only 3 months and they stopped production. And so obviously, depending on the demand in that particular window of time, you may have more or less of a particular piece made. And even though they're not numbered, they may be actually, incredibly rare because they just never made a whole lot. Like what if, during the 6 months, for instance, that Mowgli and Ka, Trusting Me was available, only, 600-700 people ordered it or something like that. Then that's all they ever made. So a lot of the best pieces actually, honestly, are from the villain series. Of course, the limitation is that they're all villains. And so, you have to like those or collect those. But of course, Disney is known for some of their, Disney is known for their great villains. And you can essentially argue that, the greatest pieces and the most interesting pieces are the villains anyway, right? And so the reason I love this piece so much is just because of the sheer ambition of it. Again, the sheer ambition of it. I like Walt Disney Classics collection pieces that take chances, that are basically like, the people who created it as a little bit crazy. Like I love the statues where on paper it doesn't make any sense, or it just would seem impossible to do. That there would be too many barriers in terms of breakage, in terms of putting it together, and yet somehow, they didn't care. They went ahead and they did it anyways, and then you have this stunning piece as a result. I kind of gravitate toward pieces like that, and just like Shere Khan, Savage Sophisticate, had the problem with all of those, plants around him that looked impossible to ship without breaking. Trusting Me has Ka, just the snake, right? Literally in mid, like lifting itself in mid-air. Look at the tongue, and then look at the coils of the snake wrapped around Mowgli, and you have all of these, tree branches all around it. But the highlight is Ka himself, in my opinion. Of course, Mowgli as well, with his arms and legs sort of sticking out, that, perfect expression. That's like right out of the animated picture. This is basically a piece that seems completely impossible and impractical to create. And remember, the extra added little zing is that all of this is, fine art porcelain. It's porcelain that has to be, fired in a kiln, painted, and then hand assembled. I want you to listen very closely. See that? I'm just rubbing it. Just rubbing it, you can hear the hollow porcelain of this piece. There you go. Right here. So, it's hollow, it's brittle. How are you going to put this together? And then how are you going to ship it? Well, the answer is, there were some problems, as you can imagine. I think, believe it or not, shipping it was actually done pretty well. I did get this from the Midwest, a place from Detroit, Michigan. And it did come to me priority mail, so 2 to 3 days, double boxed. But the actual Walt Disney Classics Collection box itself, the so-called green box, was pretty well packed. There was a lot of, foam filling up this empty space to prevent minimal movement of Kaa and Mowgli. And it was just like jam tight so that hopefully the piece wouldn't move at all. But it was held securely by soft foam so that transmission of the impact wouldn't damage the statue. But there was a lot of breakages as well. This piece pretty famously had quite a bit of breakages because it's so delicate. You really want to try to get this one local pickup if possible, and then the closer it is, the better, okay? So again, this is a scene from the Jungle Book. It's up in the trees, and it's called Trusting Me because that's the song that Kaa is singing while he's hypnotizing Mowgli and sort of, causing him to go to sleep, and he's putting his, his constrictors, he's wrapping him up and gently squeezing him. He's about to, obviously get ready to eat him. And in the movie, of course, Mowgli is saved by another predator, the apex predator, Shere Khan, showing up. And so while Kaa was nervously trying to get Shere Khan off the scent, luckily Mowgli managed to wake up since he was no longer being actively hypnotized and wander off. So that's the scene from the movie that this is in, and that's what's called Trusting Me from that song. By the way, a lot of people may not know, but the voice actor, I think, who played Kaa also plays Winnie the Pooh. So that's, I think, not a very well-known fact, but if you listen carefully, well, not that carefully, once I tell this to you, you can't really unhear the similarity. But yeah, I really, again, love the scene, and the fact that they were able to bring this to life in sculptural form is pretty unreal, right? That they managed to do that. So look at the detail of the tendrils of the boa constrictor around Mowgli itself. Look at the tongue sticking out. Look at the beautiful paint. And look at the hypnotic eyes of Kaa right there. Again, all of this fire kiln paint and the camouflage and the thick body of the snake, I guess. Take a look at the really, really nice detail of the bark of the tree, the texturing, all the leaves. All of this is porcelain, all of that detail. Just sort of focus on the base. All around. Just get a good idea of this. And then, of course, the boa constrictor, all the detail of that. You can see very, very nicely done. And then Mowgli and his expression, not too happy that he's trapped by Kaa. Yeah, I was definitely very, very nervous waiting for this one to get to me. If you can find this piece for under 2,000, complete in box with a certificate of authenticity, I would say that, for today, at least in 2023, anything under 2,000, I would say would be a pretty amazing deal. I paid a smidge over, I think 22, 23 myself at that time. And then, of course, for the increased shipping charges as well. Just moving them around so you can appreciate them from all different angles. One of the more intricate statues in the line, and of course one that took quite a bit of risk as well. It's very, very difficult when you have a snake to deal with and bring that snake to life. I just really also love the fact that, you know, you see Kaa wrapped around the tree branch, and you see Mowgli wrapped around as well. Just a very like dynamic art design. There's a lot of beautiful interaction and chemistry, you know, between the two. So just artistically speaking, just a great piece. And again, like I said before, it's definitely one of the favorites, my favorites in the entire line. For me to buy a non-Beauty and the Beast WDCC piece, it has to be something special. And I explained why I thought that Savage Sophisticate was that special, what appealed to me about that statue. And I'm explaining here why Kaa and Mowgli is so special here. So that's it. This is from the Villain series. Trusting Me, Kaa and Mowgli. Fine Art Porcelain. I hope you enjoyed looking at this with me in all the different angles and understanding why this is such a remarkable piece. And remember, all of this is accentuated because it is in porcelain. This is not resin. It's not polystone. It's porcelain. That's, you know, kind of infamously difficult to work with. And you're able to get all this detail and, more importantly, all of this accuracy from the animated picture in sculptural form. That's what set these Disney pieces apart, what made them unique, and why they can never really be ever replaced. All right, there you go. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, do take care.